So first off, let me get this off my chest. Ducks are disgusting. They never stop pooping. They don't lay eggs in a nesting box. They just kind of lay them wherever they want. They never go inside the coop when you want. They're loud, they smell. Did I mention that they poop everywhere? So yeah, you can probably guess that ducks are not my thing. I'm not a duck guy. But when my friend Eileen came to me with the challenge, I had to help her out. So she found out, after she bought some ducks, very quickly, the first few things that I just introduced you to about ducks. Disgusting. Pooping wherever they want. They smell, poop. Problem was, she already had the ducks and needed to find something to do with them. And so she had this freshwater pond on her property. So she thought, you know, maybe we could just put a coop there and then we'll just let them go in the water and they'll be all good. But she has a ton of predators around here, foxes, hawks, all kinds of stuff. So the challenge was, how do we build something for the ducks to keep them safe, but also give them consistent fresh water throughout the year without having to drag a hose or a big bucket down here? That's how. The Shangri-La of duck runs. Let me give you a close-up. So we first start over here with this little coop that she got, which is pretty cool. Right now this ramp is just kind of holding the door open while we go through this. So you can see this thing is basically made up of 3 parts. There's an on-land section here, there's a bridge, and there's the section underwater. So over the past few weeks, we've seen foxes here, we've seen hawks, falcons, I'm sure there's raccoons, all kinds of things that would love to get their hands on a nice yummy duck. I haven't had duck in a while. Just kidding. Or am I? So one of the things about ducks is that they will destroy fresh water in seconds. Anybody who has ever had ducks or currently has ducks knows exactly what I'm talking about. You fill up their water, nice fresh water, and then 5 minutes later it's full of disgusting duck poop and it smells horrible and they have no remorse, no gratitude. They just fill it with poop. So in reality, ducks only need enough water to get their nostrils under it because they need to just clear out their nostrils using water. But so we wanted to give them a little bit more than that. So this section right here, as you can see, it's underwater. And so there's 2 different types of wire on here. On the bottom, there's a black plastic wire, and that wire also goes on the very bottom, because one of the things we don't want to have happen is the ducks to slip under the fence. So this thing is fully enclosed. So there's 2 parts here. So if we go inside, so you can see they have this little bridge that's not in the water. And they have a little ramp that goes into the water, and this is also protected. So this outside box, this underwater box, is wired on basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and half. So there's wire on the bottom so that they can't scoot out, and there's no like real water predators over here, so it's not like we have to worry about predators coming in. And they have plenty of space to swim. The deep end is about 4 feet deep. Ask me how I know. And there's about 2 feet of mud, well, maybe a foot of mud down at the bottom. So what I did was I actually went in there with a pair of waders and sort of put this whole thing in there. Just kind of dragged it real slow because I built it basically right over here on land, and then kind of dragged it real slow. Using 2x4s as kind of like little skis, brought it into the water, and then I stood on some cinder blocks and pushed them down as far into the mud as I could, and then stuck this on top. We've also got cinder blocks holding it up down here. Again, pressed very far into the mud. The reason why I pressed it so far into the mud is because I wanted to make sure it stayed as settled as possible. So now hopefully when sediment gets on top, it'll just kind of sit on top of the cinder block, sit on top of the wood that's under there to hold it down even more. If I had just sat it on top of the mud, it would sink down and become unlevel. So I tried to make it as level for as long as I possibly could. And now in here, this is basically the on-land section. You can see this is also wired in. And then this is solid plywood right here. And again, just a little ramp that goes into the water, and made it kind of wide and has steps so that they can easily get out. So I'll show you this middle section. So this middle section here is about 6 feet tall, which is a little short for me, but it should be great for Eileen. We got a little door with a latch here. And then what we did on the bottom was we used a solid piece of plastic because we didn't want anything digging up underneath it. And Eileen wants to clean it also, so we didn't want to just have wire. So this way we got a plastic so that anything that's on there she'll be easily able to rake out, because it'll be a non-absorbent surface right there, so she'll be able to rake it right off, nice and slippery. We could have done wood with like a cheap laminate tile or vinyl stick-on tile, but lumber is so crazy expensive these days. Ridiculous. So I built all 3 of these pieces on land, and it took a little bit of thinking because originally we were going to put the coop on the other side of the pond, but we found that when it was hot and the pond dried up, it would dry up pretty much right in that spot, so it'd be tough to get it at a good level. So the way that I did this was I first built the underwater box because everything else kind of depended on where that sat in the water. That's how I knew how long to make the bridge, and then I knew where to put this part. So everything started with this, which is, so it is, I think that is also 6 feet tall. No, I think that's 7 feet tall, and 10 feet long. And so you can see it actually is pretty strong. Those little corner braces, these little corner braces right here provide a lot of strength. And so pretty straightforward. I just kind of made a box, stuck it all together, and then like I said before, so I put 2x4s on the ground, sort of flat, and then I used them as skis to just kind of pull it in. So I had waders on, I got into the water, and I was just pulling it, inch by inch until I got it in there. And then I used a shovel and I sort of dug out some of the mud right here so that this could be as level as possible. You can see it's not perfect, but I don't think the ducks will mind. And then once I had that set, I took the coop and I took the on-land run portion and I kind of positioned it where I thought it should go, where it was the most level. And then I just built the bridge to size. So I found out it was about 80 inches. So measured that, cut that, put the plywood down, and that's pretty much it. So it looks pretty good, and this coop is super cute. So it should be nice for the ducks. I hope they enjoy it. I can't wait to see when they come in here and splash around and see what they do. They should really, really enjoy it. And I think also having them in here, you can see there's a lot of algae in this pond. I think having them in here will help alleviate that because they're going to be splashing around and making a whole mess of stuff. So, and our friend Eileen will get a bubbler to stick in here so that it doesn't freeze, so that they can still use it in the winter. Because those silly ducks, they love their water. And so another thing, so a lifesaver in this scenario are these little rabbit clips. Love that. Because wire has also gotten way more expensive too. So this right here, so this is 2 sections. So a 2-foot section of chicken wire and a 4-foot section so that we have 6-foot total height. And just connecting it with these things, these little rabbit clips, it makes it so much easier. I actually ran out, so I had to use some wire right here. So when you buy chicken wire, it comes with this little wire that's wrapped all the way around it. So if you have 2 sections, you can kind of just thread this through. to connect the sections, but a little more of a pain in the neck. But anyway, that's my Shangri-La of duck runs. What do y'all think?